Hello, everybody. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Thank you for joining me. We have areas of snow impacting South Dakota, Montana, and on into parts of Wyoming as we head into our afternoon. For us, fog continues for some, and a cold air blast is on its way. The details are coming up right now. You are watching Hutch's Weather. First, my friends at Robert Gibb & Sons want to thank first responders for the job that you do. And you can receive up to $400 off the installation of a new system. Please give Robert Gibb & Sons a call today and have them let them know that Hutch sent you. Now, let's take a look at what we have going on with regards to our active watches, warnings, and advisories across the area. The fog advisory continues here in the valley, but it extends all the way into the near Chicago, Illinois area, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the eastern part of the Dakotas, and all of western Minnesota. Where you see the blue counties there in South Dakota, that's a good old-fashioned winter weather advisory, winter storm warning. In the Black Hills, we'll show you what's going on there. As we look down to the south, we have wind and fire weather warnings taking place down in Colorado, all the way down into New Mexico and parts of Texas, with winter storm watches in effect in New York, upstate New York, as well as Erie, PA, as a wintry system will make its impacts known, particularly as well in the mountains of West Virginia. So that's what's going on right now as we take a look at this. And once again, I want to thank all of you who have clicked the follow button on my Facebook page. It helps me immensely. The more people that follow, the more people that our friends at Facebook will share my videos with and get the word out. So please hit that follow button. It really does help out. Now let's take a look at what's going on in our region as we continue through our day. We are talking about some areas of fog on the radar. You can see on the radar right now where you have blue here near Rapid City. We're talking about Belfouche, South Dakota, Buffalo, South Dakota, on up into the Mobridge, South Dakota area, as well as Aberdeen, seeing snow showers. Notice there's a few bands of, well, I guess I'd call it just ice crystals and snowflakes here in the Fargo area from time to time as well. Let's go to those road conditions because we have areas of reduced visibility. Well, why don't I show you that right now? Reduced visibility, or that fog, continues across portions of the area. And here we go. Let me go ahead and turn that on so we can look at visibility. Is going to be inside of these circles that you see here. So we have zero visibility in the Fosston area, or near zero visibility. Detroit Lakes, Fergus Falls, all the way down towards Oaks and Sisseton, as well as reduced visibility up and down the Red River Valley counties. Visibility is much better off to the far west, as we see near 10 miles in Minot. All the way down to the cities, there's going to be some impacts by the fog that's going on out there. So let's see if these snowflakes are actually hitting the ground. We're going to go right over now to take a look at hutchesweather.com. On hutchesweather.com, you can get the very latest on my website anytime, anywhere you are. Just use your mobile device, bookmark my website, and you'll have links to all of our regional, road condition reports, as well as that interactive radar showing this snow system working its way through. Now, when you get to the website, just click on the top line up there. You see those little menu bars up top, and there it is, road conditions and snow amounts. We'll do both. Taking a look at the road conditions across our area. Here's North Dakota, Minnesota, and South Dakota, the top three listed, but you can also get all the way down to Nebraska, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan, included the prairies of parts of Canada. But now let's take a peek too real quick at the snowfall amounts that have been reported across the nation in the last 24 hours. For our area, pretty quiet. The Black Hills, not so quiet, and it's been snowing throughout the day. Some of these reports coming in around the earlier part of the day. So as you take a look, we had about 5 inches in the Whitewood, South Dakota area, Spearfish, with 3.2 inches recorded at about 10 a.m. today. Some snowfall still falling in these areas. You can always see this on Hutch's Weather to get an idea of where that snow is falling. Heading out to Wyoming, oh my goodness, about 20 inches of snow for some of those parts. All right, back to our area roads. Let's take a look at the fog impacting parts near the FM area. Now, the road colors here, the blue means wet roads, but temperatures are cold enough for some side streets to be icy out there. Please keep that in mind. Here's a look at I-94, just off to the west of the FM area. Wet roads, some areas showing reduced visibility. Now you get right into the metro here. We've had fog on and off throughout the day. Look at this. As you take a look at the Red River Bridge right now, it's murky out there. It's soupy, and from time to time there's ice crystals falling. You can see pictures of some of these ice crystals uploaded on my website, hutchesweather.com. Thanks to all of you who've shared photos. Now, looking up near Grand Forks, this is what the roads are looking like there. And again, more of this schmutz in the air. It's that fog, it's the soup, and it's temperatures below freezing that are causing some of this to freeze on things like your deck and surfaces like that. So very slippery. Otherwise, seasonal travel conditions across central North Dakota until you get out to the west. There was a snow system that's making its way through South Dakota that did clip parts of North Dakota. You have icy roads shown in yellow here on I-94 out near Medora all the way out to Beach, North Dakota. And you can see the encroachment of some of the icy conditions on the interstate there. It's not untravelable, but if you're cruising along, make sure you stay off the cruise control in case you hit a patch of that ice. Highway 85 corridor, Highway 83 corridor, some of those roads look like this. As that snow is exiting down to the south, it has left some slippery trails to cross. Back down to the I-29 corridor south of the FM area, this is what it looks like now at the exits. I-29, really soupy conditions there as well, with isolated areas of slippery nonsense on area roads. Now, South Dakota, let's check you out. This is where we do have some of those conditions that have been snowy, and we've had accumulation of snow on area roads. So here's what we're looking at. Now, as we take you across the I-29 corridor, this is down near the Sisseton area, and you can see the reduced visibility in Sisseton from the fog. It's not terribly soupy. Where you see the pink roads here, these are frost and snow-covered roads, as the radar showing that the snow showers are pushing through. What does it look like as you get on the Interstate 90 corridor? This is Chamberlain now in South Dakota, right smack dab in the central part of the state, not far from the capital, and you can see the snow and blowing snow working its way through those areas. Get out into the Black Hills, and, well, it's a little bit of a different story as we look in on the Spearfish area. Yep, you guessed it. That's mighty wintry out there as we take a look at the conditions that we're seeing in the western reaches and the hills of western South Dakota. So take it easy on area roads in parts of eastern South Dakota as well, with the onset of some fog. Minnesota, quick check of your roads for you as we take a look. This is where we have the dense fog advisory in the purple counties, and let's take a look at a couple of the cameras here as well. We'll start way up north, we'll work our way southward. Here's the Highway 11 corridor near the War Road area, Roseau, and we do have some snowy roads, and it does look like it in places frost developing on trees, which means it can certainly develop on some side roads. Gatsky, Goodrich area, seeing some foggy, soupy conditions there. Waskish in the Red Lakes area, seeing the same thing as we have the sticky, snowy roads out there. Visibility is a little bit improved. Now let's get down towards Bemidji to Solway, and here's a look at the Highway 2 corridor in central Minnesota. And it doesn't appear to be too bad with visibility at this hour, but once our temperatures start succumbing and falling tonight, this is what it's going to look like across greater Minnesota, and central Minnesota will be included in this foggy nonsense as well. And it's not going to rapidly clear out. Here is at Fisher to Crookston area. The fog at least taken a little bit of a reprieve at the time these photos are taken, which is right now here on Hutch's Weather, as this is a live update from me. Now, as we take a look at Highway 10, here's Lake Park. Yesterday, Lake Park out towards Frazee, very soupy, and it continues if you take a look at this. So expect to continue to see the soupy conditions. This is near the Purim area out there in Frazee as well, as we have some, foggy road conditions and travel conditions there. Interstate 94. Here is a look in the Barnesville area. We definitely have some foggy conditions. Slow it down a little bit when you run into this fog, by the way, because things can happen in a hurry at 75 miles per hour. It doesn't take long to travel a good quarter of a mile. So if you can't see, you don't know if the traffic ahead of you is slowing down or stopping. Fergus Falls, you have some soupy conditions there. All right, that is a look at your road conditions across our state. Many areas contending with the fog as we go into the afternoon and evening hours. Here's a model run of the fog, and if you do have a question, you know what to do. You drop it in the comments right here on Hutch's Weather. It's interactive, and you know what? It's unique that way because you are a part of this whole broadcast. Brian, thank you much. Big northern lights coming? Yes. There's a chance of northern lights. Any break in the clouds the next 2 nights, Melissa? Yes, there is definitely a chance of that. You heard it here. The northern lights look like they could be ripping as we begin the new year, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, as we go through. There could be some mighty windy and cold conditions, so make sure you have yourself prepared for that. Getting back to winter, Mike says, indeed, and we'll have some icy conditions to talk about as well. Good evening, everyone. Arlen, good to have you on board. Talked to a couple today when I was out in a boat, and they were coming from southern Stutzman County out there. They had no idea Hutch was broadcasting and still doing weather. So hi to you and your family and all of your neighbors out there in southern Stutsman County. Let them know hutchesweather.com is the place to get your weather information. All right, back to the business here. Let's talk fog first, forecast second as we go through. Fog is immediate and the snow system down to the south is an immediate concern. So here we go. All right, this is a look at an hourly updated forecast, the low pressure center down here in Nebraska. As that spins its way through, the wind and the snow chances will continue to spin their way to the south and southeast. It will go over the I-29 corridor all the way down south near the areas not far from Kansas City and Omaha, Nebraska. So keep that in mind. Iowa will also get some colder area infiltrating the state as well. So here we go, and we'll go out to a model that goes out a little bit farther, and we'll look at the snow system first. It's moving down to the south. Travel will be impacted on Interstate 90, that east-west thoroughfare through central South Dakota. It will be impacted on 80 running through Nebraska and I-29 north-south through the region. That snow system is gone fairly quickly and moves into the central plains, including Iowa and Des Moines as we go towards daybreak. And then behind it, this is a cold north flow of air. Cold north winds will cause lift and clouds tomorrow, and fog will continue for some of the area as well. But this air blowing out of Canada is much drier at the surface, so the low clouds will lift slowly and evaporate and kind of dry up from that direction. I do anticipate we're going to see some areas of flurries as this cold air works its way in. Now, a look at this fog nonsense that's just been pesky for over a week now, as you heard here on Hutch's Weather first. A long time ago, well before it. And I said days of fog, and it's just been terrible. And in fact, some people say, well, 90 days after the fog, what happens? Does that mean we're going to get 7 days of snow in 90 days? Because it's been foggy, mainly on more than off for the last 7 days. We'll see. Mark it on your calendars and let's talk about it in 90 days. The dark red and pink areas are reduced visibility under a mile. As you take a look at this, 0.2 of a mile, 1/4 of a mile, even less at times. That's tonight. Now, as we set this puppy into motion, that drier north flow isn't going to be too strong at first, but it will increase. So as we go through the overnight hours here, the fog will mainly be a problem in the Red River Valley and parts of Minnesota. The reduced visibility out here, you guessed it, that's some of the snow system working its way through parts of Nebraska, southern South Dakota, and into Iowa, some rain and clouds as well. Notice that we still have the areas of fog that will last into daybreak out there across parts of western Minnesota. And at times we could get dashes of snow. That's what these little isolated areas of decreased visibility are. That's right, snow shots right in the chin after all of the fog that we've had. Now, there's nobody going to be free of fog, but there will be some low clouds and reduced visibility across the region going into your Tuesday. This is midday, folks, so some areas could still see some low clouds and schmutz in the air for the better part of the day. And now, as we head through and into the rest of the day, the best chance of fog is really going to be exiting up into the Arrowhead of Minnesota, maybe in and around northern Minnesota, and that is about it. So that is a look at that part of the forecast. But what about temperatures? As we switch this puppy over, this is the highlight that I have for you tonight. We're going to see the coldest of the air slowly arriving, and as it does come in waves, what's going to happen is wave 1 will cool us off, and it'll bring a shot of some isolated flakes. Wave 2 will come through. It's like another cold front, right? So it's going to cause some lift. And as the air gets colder, it can hold less moisture. And that means more flakes are going to be in the forecast as well. So I won't call it flat out snow chances, but what I will call it is chances of flurries and ice crystals. And flurries and ice crystals can impact your viewing of northern lights. We're going to guide ourselves through the next couple of days with a look at the European forecast model here. And we're going to look at the precipitation, future precipitation bands here. So in the northern plains, as we go through, there's the exit of your system. These blue lines, by the way, are basically, you think of it as the almost the thickness of the atmosphere in the first half of the atmosphere. And the more shallow it gets, the more cold and dense the air is. So this line is a cold air mass in blue, and it's going to be moving southward with these north winds. So there's our cold air punching in wave 1. That's Tuesday, and temperatures will be steady and falling for many locations. It'll be breezy out there too, so it's going to be wind, chilly. This is New Year's Eve at dinner time, and here's New Year's Eve at midnight right here. Cold air, wind with a few gusts upwards of 20 to 30 miles per hour in places. Means it will be wind chilly for your New Year's Eve celebrations, as Hutch has been telling you about the last several days. Oh no, the wind starts to take a break heading into New Year's Day later in the day. Not as windy, but yes, as cold, because here comes burp number 2 of cold air. You see that blue line? Whoop, that'll be sagging southward as well. And as that happens, we're going to get another shot of flurries. It's not showing up on here, but Hutch has been around the block on 1 or 2 Huffy bicycles before. You know, with the little orange triangular flag on the back to make sure that people could see you. Yep, that was me when I was a kid. And I'll tell you what, that means when we get these cold shots of air, there'll be periods of flurries and ice crystals in the forecast. That's New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. So there is a chance of seeing some clouds in the area and some shots of snow as well. Let's take a look at the satellite forecast, or the cloud cover forecast here. And as we take a look at this on the European model, it looks like we're all socked in here, which is pretty much the case. Now, this is on New Year's Day, so it's showing more clouds than clear skies. And that is a result of this cold air lifting this soupy air up slowly. So a gradual change. I do think we'll see pockets of clearing out there, Melissa, for those of you wanting to take pictures of those northern lights out there. Turn lights on when driving in the soup, Brian says, as a reminder. So a good reminder. If you have some tips, share it with everybody right here. You guys are the most goodest. You know what? All these comments we get on this, making this more interactive, that's great. So we do have some fog coming through. We'll have some low clouds moving through. This is just one model's rendition of the cloud cover. Let's take a more high resolution look at this, shall we? And heading into the first of the year, let's see if I can get the simulated IR satellite. So this is what the satellite may look like. Here's the thicker, colder, higher cloud tops associated with the storm now moving through South Dakota. Notice it's continuing to burp moisture up on this side of the system as it works its way into southern Minnesota, heading into the overnight hours tonight. Here's the sweeping north winds kind of clearing things from bottom to top. So our northern counties here in north central North Dakota, we're talking about that Bottineau area and out towards Rolla and in towards, well, Pierce County and down into you folks in the Sheridan County area. You could see a clearing taking place in your area, but I still think we'll have low clouds in the valley and points east as we go into your Tuesday. New Year's Eve, very late, we start to see some of these drying patches making their way through. Minnesota, a lower chance at seeing it. So if you're in the Twin Valley area out there, Melissa, depending on where you're shooting at, you may want to head west just a little bit to get a better view of that. And look at this up north as we go into the midnight hour of New Year's. That's where the better chances look to be as we cross into the new year for seeing those clearing skies. I will keep you updated right here, of course, but thank you so very much for joining me. Now let me show you the details of Hutch's fast forecast here. Now all of those facts as we go through. Heading into the next 24 hours. This is what you need to know first thing in the morning. It's going to be foggy once again. Valley and points off to the east. Here's a look at the conditions that I expect temperature-wise across our area. In the north central, where we'll have that chance of clearing, temperatures in the teens. Otherwise, we hover near 20 degrees. That fog will be freezing fog in places. So once again, in the morning, you're going to have that nice crust of clear ice on your windshields out there. It does look like 21 as the rule up in the northern valley for Thief River Falls, for Grand Forks, and up near the area near Badette and War Road, near 20 degrees. Same thing for you, Babe the Blue Ox. Get ready. And if you have sunglasses on, make sure you get the frost scraper out for those puppies out there. So temperatures in the teens to around 20 degrees. Carol says from Twin Valley, north wind here already. So the north winds are starting to push in, and that's going to be the case. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly it clears out or dries out some of the surface air. But what will happen first as temperatures fall is the moisture in the air will condense out as fog and flakes, and then it might dry out just a little bit. Burr says Jane and Minto. That's the case. Temperatures start out near 20. Do we warm up a lot tomorrow? And the short answer is, Sorry about my English, but that's just the way I see it. We're talking 20, and some of us will see falling temperatures up in the Northland. So we get up in the teens, and that's it. Up near Bottineau, up near Towner County for Rock Lake. If you're spending some time in Walhalla, it'll be froggy for some of us here in the valley with temperatures hovering near 20 throughout the day. So I do think we'll have low clouds at least in some of our area, even here in the valley. But I do think that it'll gradually decrease as the wind picks up from the north. That'll be drier air undercutting some of this more moist air. And as you saw, by the time we get to late tomorrow night, there'll be a good chance of some partially clearing skies up in northwest Minnesota, maybe into parts of the valley. We will just see. I think the lower areas here will have a better chance at staying just a little bit on the cooler side. And then the planning forecast has a lot of red on it. What does that mean? It's going to be, well, let's just call it snot freezing cold out there as we go through New Year's Eve. Expect our temperatures to be unbalmy, to say the least. We will be dipping down to 20, but overnight, Tuesday night, as you're heading out to celebrate, we're on our way to the single digits with winds gusting to 25 to 30 miles per hour. At midnight, that's ear biting cold. It's nose pinching a cold. It's snotsicle forming cold that will work its way out. Wind chills between 10 and 25 below for many of us on New Year's Eve. Our high temperatures will hover near 10 on Wednesday and Thursday, and that could cause some flurries here or there. It doesn't mean widespread clouds. It just means even ice crystals forming in the air, particularly on Friday. And then we get another wave of Arctic air, truly Arctic air punching in as we close out the week and head into the weekend ahead. I'm talking air temperatures here that will have even the most weathered folks with a little bit of wind. We're talking some nasty wind chills, and temperatures could stay sub-zero in many locations on Saturday, on Sunday, and on Monday. And that's great for making ice unless that ice is covered with a deep blanket of snow. No deep snow here, but you know what I mean. It can insulate some of that ice making and slow it down. And at least we had no tornadoes, Brenda. I like your positivity. Fran says, hi from Detroit Lakes. It's sure good to see you on board today. Now, here's the bottom line. Cold air dives in. It will get gusty. It'll be breezy, breezy, breezy on Tuesday through Friday. And then it will get chillier and colder as that Arctic air infiltrates the region heading into the late week. Sub-zero shiver-worthy stretch is on the way with ice crystals at any time and flurries at any time. And there's a 100% chance as the cold air makes its way in of the return of the dogs. Nope, not Pedro. Sundogs. We're talking sundogs here. Okay, remember, you can get the latest in your road conditions and the interactive radar by visiting hutchesweather.com anytime, no matter where you are. Hutchesweather.com has you covered on the interactive radar right here on the screen as it loads up. The system moving down through South Dakota and even farther south, you can just track it right into the area you're traveling in. Please remember my fine sponsors out there, including Slim's Tree Care. You know, it might be a little bit slower time of the year for tree care, but if you have a need, call Slim, and you push the button there on my webpage and you'll get all the contact information there. For now, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Road conditions available for you. Know before you go. Slow down, arrive safe. And as snow reports come in from South Dakota, I imagine we're going to see some over 6 inches the way things have been flying out there and from the looks of the Black Hills. But for now, have a good evening. I'll be back with updates right here. You're watching Hutch's Weather. Thanks so much.